Relationships, they're so key, they're so vital to life. And yet so many people seem to struggle in the area of relationships. Here's something about relationships that I know is that, I've been married for 24 years. And I can tell you with deep, deep conviction that I've never one time had an argument with my wife. And if you believe that, I've got some oceanfront property in Arizona I can sell to you at a really cheap price. The thing is, relationships are always going to involve conflict. Relationships are always going to involve testing. And in seasons of life, you have to assess which relationships can you continue with. Which relationships do you need to move on from? And that's a tough place to be, but I've had to go through that several times in my life. So let's talk about testing. One of my greatest friends and mentors, and one of the guys I mentioned to you before that's above me that I look to for leadership and counseling, we were driving in the car many, many years ago, and I'm talking about this is someone I have a very, very close relationship with, and he was really quiet that day. And I asked him, I said, man, are you okay? Something going on? He says, I'm just really heavy with something in my heart right now. I said, okay, no problem. He said, well, it has to do with our relationship. And immediately, because I value this relationship and esteem it at such a high level, I became concerned. I said, well, are you at liberty to share with me what's on your heart? Because that concerns me. He said, Brian, he said, here's what I know about relationships. He said, every relationship is tested. It has to be. My daughter this year completed her freshman year of high school. And in order to move from 9th grade here in the United States of America to 10th grade, there were certain things that she had to pass, which means there were tests along the way that would prove whether or not she had learned the lessons and the content and the necessary fundamentals that she needed to qualify for the next level. And my friend says to me, he says, our relationship, Brian, is about to be tested. He said, I just know this instinctively. I know it in my heart. He said, somehow or another, our relationship is supposed to go to a new level, but in order for that to happen, it must be tested. Well, can I tell you that it was a couple of months after that, our relationship came to a crossroads and there was a great test. It was difficult. In some ways, it was painful, but you know what? We had the insight and the commitment to each other that we were going to walk through that process and allow God to do in our relationship whatever needed to take place in order for it to graduate to the next level. Here's what I find. Most people, when a relationship is tested, what happens is that they fall out of relationship. They become offended. They allow that offense to become bitterness. That bitterness becomes resentment. And before long, you have a person whose heart has been hardened toward another individual who God really intended for them to be in relationship with, but they did not know how to walk through the test. They did not know how to steward this season, this little window of time here in which the relationship had to be tested for it to go to another level. And I want you to think about this. You've looked at some relationships, you've made some lists, hopefully by now, of those people in your life. But I want you to take some time and consider this. Are there individuals who, along the way, you came to a place and that relationship was tested, and it was difficult, it was hard. But in that place of testing, maybe you failed to recognize this is just a test. Just a test. We have to pass this if our relationship is going to graduate to a new level. Because see, here's the thing I know about new levels. New levels offer new benefits. New levels, on that new level, everything is new and fresh, and now there's greater capacity to love, greater capacity to share, greater capacity to engage and exchange life with them. So somewhere along the way, did you miss out on that opportunity because you did not know how to steward the place of the test? I want to encourage you today to go back and look at some relationships. Is it something you can go back and revisit? Is it possible that you may need to ask for forgiveness? Or maybe you need to offer forgiveness before anyone even asks? Is it a place where you need to deal with an offense in your own heart and say, at this place of testing, I failed. I wasn't a master of that moment, and I failed to steward it the right way, and I messed up. And I believe with all my heart that God will give you a grace to reconcile, to grow, and to move beyond the place of that test. You see, here's what I know about tests. If you don't pass the test the first time, the teacher just keeps on coming back. And so I want to encourage you today, evaluate your life, assess some of those relationships, and ask your Heavenly Father, is there a place where I've messed up? Someone that I should go to and try to reconcile and deal with? Because I'm going to tell you what, relationships are the treasure of life. And I encourage you today, as it relates to your personal mastery, go after them. Do what you have to do to reconcile and to garner and to foster those relationships. My name is Brian Holmes. I trust this has been a great help to you today, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Until then, may God bless you, and may you find success in everything you put your hands to do.